Alright, hi there guys, my name is Michael and we're here on NeuraPrep.com trying out their live interview feature for the game QA tester. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it.
Welcome. Excited to start the interview.
Hi there, I'm excited to be here as well.
Great. I'm Jessica, and I'll be conducting your technical interview today. Before we dive into the main questions, I'm curious, do you have any experience with game testing or QA work?
No, not really. I've just tried maybe 3 months being a QA tester, but that's pretty much it.
That's totally fine. 3 months is actually some solid hands-on experience. We'll be focusing on testing fundamentals today, which should align well with what you've seen. So let's jump into our first question. I want to explore your approach to testing methodology. Here's the scenario. Explain how you would test a new feature in a game, detailing your approach from understanding requirements to documenting results. Take your time and walk me through your process.
I would say that I'm gathering the details from the design documents and user stories or developer notes. And afterwards I'm gonna clarify myself like what the feature is supposed to do, how players will interact with it, and some other cases like what happens if the player quits mid-feature, if it's, I don't know, let's say an event during the game. And yeah, plan testing as well, to defining the scope, identifying the dependencies of the feature, like does it affect lap counting or something like that in a racing game, let's say, and also deciding on the test types, like functional tests, if it works, negative tests, and so on and so forth.
Good start. You're hitting the key points about understanding requirements and planning. Can you tell me more about what happens after you've planned your testing? How do you actually execute and wrap up the testing process?
I would perform tests systematically and using debugging tools and logs to capture the hidden data, and also recording the gameplay, also writing down step by step what I did to reach the certain bugs, so the development team would be able to replicate it if it's possible.
Nice. You're covering the execution and documentation aspects well. The systematic approach and detailed reproduction steps are definitely important for developers. Let's move to our next question, which builds on bug handling. What is the difference between severity and priority in bug tracking, and how would you explain it?
I would say the severity is how bad the bug is, and priority is how soon it needs to be fixed. Such as on the severity, it's determined by the QA tester and tells you the technical seriousness of the bug, which for the priority it determines by the product manager and the development lead, and it tells you the business urgency of the bug. Let's say it has a high severity but low priority, like the game crashes if you enter lap 62 or something like that, and in the developer settings it's not accessible to normal player. Like if it's crashing, it's a severe problem, but it's low on a priority because it won't happen in normal play, because not all the players will be allowed to reach the lap 62, since it's not really in the game, let's say.
Excellent explanation. You nailed the core distinction. Severity, measuring the technical impact, versus priority being about business urgency. Your lap 62 crash example perfectly illustrates how something can be severe but low priority. Now for our final question. How do you prioritize multiple bugs found during testing, considering their impact on the game?
Can you repeat the question, like giving me a small example of it?
Sure. Let's say during testing you find these bugs. The game crashes when players try to save their progress. A cosmetic item displays the wrong color. The tutorial skips a step, but players can still figure it out. Multiplayer matches sometimes don't start. How would you decide which ones to tackle first, and what factors would you consider?
Oh, I see. I would go like I'm gonna evaluate the severity, such as if the game is breaking, like crashing or not loading, or it blocks the progression. Otherwise, if it has like core features being broken, like something won't do the thing it's supposed to do, also it's annoying but doesn't stop, such as an UI misplacement on the screen, and some trivial ones I would say, such as a cosmetic, as you just said, like maybe some textures not aligning with the 3D model or something like that. And I'm gonna evaluate the priority as well. If it's high, must be fixed before release and playtesting. If it's medium, should be fixed but not blocking. And if it's low, it's nice to have like, you know, it's just there.
Good thinking on the severity levels. You're definitely on the right track with categorizing by impact. Let me ask a follow-up. When you're looking at those bugs I mentioned, what other factors beyond just severity might influence which ones you'd recommend fixing first? Think about the player experience and project constraints.
The reproducibility, frequency, and visibility?
Exactly. Those are key factors. Reproducibility helps developers fix it. Frequency tells you how often players will hit it. And visibility affects how many users will notice. So, putting it all together, if you had to rank those 4 bugs I mentioned earlier, how would you prioritize them considering everything we've discussed?
I would just fix the blockers and core gameplay bugs first, then progression and UX issues, then cosmetics and polishes.
That makes sense as a general framework. Looking at our specific examples, the save crash, tutorial skip, multiplayer issue, and cosmetic bug, which would be your top priority and why?
Can you repeat the enumeration, please?
Of course. Here are the 4 bugs. 1. The game crashes when players try to save their progress. 2. A cosmetic item displays the wrong color. 3. The tutorial skips a step, but players can still figure it out. 4. Multiplayer matches sometimes don't start. Which would you tackle first?
Definitely the game crashing. Afterwards, I'm gonna go with the multiplayer matchmaking. Then I will solve the tutorial, and afterwards the cosmetic.
Perfect. That's exactly the right prioritization. Save crash first because it's a blocker, then multiplayer since it affects core functionality, tutorial next as it impacts user experience but isn't breaking, and cosmetic last. You've shown solid understanding of testing methodology, bug classification, and prioritization principles. Shall we wrap it up here?
Yeah, sure. It was my pleasure to be here, and thank you for your time and questions.
Thanks for the great discussion. You showed solid QA fundamentals and logical thinking throughout. Best of luck with everything.
You too. Alright, and so we've concluded with the interview, and we are waiting for the review over it, and we've got, surprisingly, a 10 out of 10. Surprisingly, because my pronunciation was kind of off the topic, but still. Yeah, at the end of it, we're getting a full-on review, basically analysis of what we have said during the interview and what we know about the selected topic. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and yeah, NeuraPrep.com for the live interviews.